Welcome to Ombi Headquarters. Today we've got a really special video for you. We are going to be talking about equipment. Equipment can help us with surfing or it could work against us in surfing. So we're going to look at equipment through the eyes of a shaper, but also through a surf coach. And we are going to discuss the different lines that people take on waves and which boards you should be using, and also when should you change boards and what kind of board should you be riding. In line 2, because the board's more refined, slightly more shorter with more rocker, they're able to take off on a steeper part of the wave. This allows them to go more up and down the wave face, and this gives them more access of at least 10 to 40% of the wave's energy. In line 3, because the surfer's skill level has improved and the board size has decreased, they're able to generate speed and rush out onto the shoulder and then starting to do lateral turns. This enables them to use between 40 and 60% of the wave's energy. In line 4, surfers are more comfortable and confident to take off in the critical part of the wave. This unlocks the wave's full potential, enabling them to use between 60 and 100% of the wave's energy. The line 2 surfer spend a lot more time in the water, they're getting a bit more fitter, taking a bit more risks, getting a bit more reward from riding a better wave. They want something now where they can start to trim and potentially go along this wave and learn how to compress and extend and generate speed. So they are starting to delve into learning how to bottom turn, which is a very slight lean, learning how to pivot off a tail, and also learning how to do a twist. All of these different turns, they need specifics on a board that work for them and not against them. And we are going to dive in and show you what those are. All those benefits of a longboard, the width and the thickness and the high volume, helps you get waves, helps you to stand, helps you balance, but there's a catch. When you want to start riding green waves and riding better waves and surfing more on the shoulder, you're going to find that when you paddle in, the board doesn't fit and you start nose diving a lot more. As the waves that you ride start to get better, they start to get a bit more hollower, the bottom draws up, the top throws, and that width doesn't tend to balance, so you start catching rail, and the thickness tends to flick you off. And then when you want to turn on the shoulder, you'll go for a turn, but the board wants to keep going straight. So you start to get this feedback from the board where the board is telling you it's time to change. So what we have here, we've got 3 examples of surfboards that work well to take you from that first line to that second line. Now, the first one that we have is it's a 6'6" and it's a swallowtail. You'll notice that the nose is a lot more narrower and it's also got more nose rocker. The thinking is, if you rode a bicycle fast, the faster you go, the more it stabilizes. So if you're paddling into a wave that's breaking with more power, you're going to get more speed. And the more speed you get, the more that board stabilizes and it makes it easier to stand up. So the rocker and the narrow nose works together in giving you control. Now, the other aspect is not as wide as the previous boards, it's not as long as the previous boards, but it has got a lot of surface area in the tail. So when you are paddling into a wave, the wave picks you up and it pushes you, and that kind of gives you stability. Now, the swallowtail, if you'll notice, this tail goes all the way down to the tip, which makes this board a lot more faster. If we go to the round tail starts turning in almost a foot earlier than the swallowtail, making the round tail an easier board to turn. And the squash tail is kind of the happy medium between the two, where it turns in a little bit earlier, it's got speed, and it's nice and loose. Now, you might ask, well, which board do I use when? If you're comfortable surfing in slightly hollower waves in the pocket, you're going to find that the round tail won't flip and it'll give you more control. But if you're surfing slightly flatter waves and more on the shoulder on the wave, you'll find that that extra surface area is great for a shoulder, but not great for a hollow part of the wave. So the swallowtail might want to flip, whereas the round tail gives you more control, but it's a slower board, so it doesn't like the shoulder, and the squash tail is the happy medium between the two. So the takeaway, you're going to need a board that enables you to compress, extend, but also start to do turns. That will give them that up to 40% range on the board, but their takeaway is they have to forget the pivoting off the tail, and they have to start to figure out how to twist on the board and how to lean on the board. We would love your comments and we'd love your feedback. Write it in. We do look at it, and if there's something that you want to know in surfing, we'd be happy to shoot a video and explain it for you.